Next week, Hong Kong will mark 5 years since violent protests rocked the city and triggered sweeping changes to its political system. On the 9th of June 2019, about 1 million protesters took to the streets of Hong Kong. What started out as a peaceful march against an extradition bill soon turned violent. As tensions ran high, clashes soon broke out between police and radical protesters, with some storming the Legislative Council at one point. Today, people prefer not to talk about this publicly. Just on Thursday, 2 British judges from Hong Kong's top court quit, citing political reasons. Hong Kong's tradition of recruiting overseas judges under its constitution is seen as a mark of judicial independence, one that has been challenged by critics following the crackdown on dissent. Authorities call their exit regrettable. CNA's Deborah Wong breaks down other events that have taken place in the aftermath of protests.
This is Hennessy Road, a 3-kilometer busy stretch with towering commercial buildings and residences. Now, on the ground floor, you can see rows of local restaurants with snaking queues during lunch hour. Now, this two-way road is a busy stretch that connects 3 of Hong Kong Island's busiest neighborhoods, with Victoria Park in Causeway Bay on one end and the Legislative Council Admiralty on the other. And this is Hennessy Road, and this is where traffic came to a standstill 5 years ago.
係19年之後咧，個營業額又跌咗40%-50%之間嚇。而嗰陣時咧，成忽失驚無神啊，要拉閘啊！因為咧喺灣仔咧，啲人個個喺度搞震啊嘛嚇。嗰條軒尼詩道咧最緊要嘅，呢條街咧開始就冇乜人行啦，即係夜晚分分鐘要早啲收工。
因為我哋呢條街咧，其實當時咧都有封路嘅情況，所以咧就有影響，但係個氣氛係緊張少少咯，即係可能我唔驚，但係總有人好擔心，就出少咗嚟，就嗰度已經係流失咗起碼2至3成顧客㗎啦。
多數喺假期內發生嘅，就係星期六日啊、假期啊出現呢啲問題，專登係休息㗎啦，避咗佢咯，又催淚彈又剩，根本搞到你做唔到嘢，做唔到生意，根本就嗰陣時係新聞係零舍報紙零舍賣得多㗎，大家會睇下呢啲新聞啊嘛。琴日發生咩事啊？
On July 1st, the anniversary of Hong Kong's handover to China, radical protesters stormed the Legislative Council and vandalized the chamber with anti-China slogans. Soon after, tens of thousands of people across different industries, including public servants, launched a city-wide strike, paralyzing social and public systems. Sporadic protests continued to break out across Hong Kong throughout the year. But COVID-19 restrictions soon silenced the movement. The events of 2019 transformed the city's political climate and life as residents know it. So far, the police have arrested nearly 10,280 persons in connection with the protests, and offences include unlawful assembly, arson, assault and wounding. And in 2020, China imposed the national security law in Hong Kong.
No central government could turn a blind eye to such threats to sovereignty and national security, as well as risks of subversion of state power. All in all, these acts have crossed the one country red line and called for resolute action. As the highest organ of state power in China, the National People's Congress has the constitutional power and the duty to enact national security legislation for the Hong Kong SAR.
It criminalizes secession, subversion, terrorism, and collusion with foreign or external forces. These offences are punishable by life imprisonment. Since then, about 290 people have been arrested for endangering national security. 175 people and 5 companies have been charged. In 2021, police raided the offices of media outlets Apple Daily and Stand News, accusing them of breaching the national security law and publishing seditious materials, respectively. Other pro-democracy outlets soon shuttered, citing safety concerns. In March, Beijing announced reforms to Hong Kong's Chief Executive and Legislative Council elections, ensuring that only patriots could run the city.
我们明确提出，要继续全面准确地贯彻“一国两制”、“港人治港”、“高度自治”的方针，严格依照宪法和基本法办事，落实好特区政府 维护国家安全的法律机制和执行机制，全力支持特区政府和行政长官依法施政。
This came after the pro-democracy opposition camp won a landslide victory in the 2019 District Council election.
李家超先生當選。
In 2022, former police officer and security chief John Lee became Hong Kong's chief executive under the electoral reforms. He was the only candidate in the polls. Mr. Lee officially started his term as Hong Kong marked 25 years since its handover to China.
今天，我肩负起中央及香港市民赋予的历史使命，我感到无比光荣，亦深知责任重大。
Further down the line, changes in schools were also brewing. Once a hotbed of activists during the protests, student unions across universities were disbanded. Hong Kong schools are now required to fly the Chinese flag daily and conduct weekly flag-raising ceremonies. The 8 public universities in the city have also launched national education courses that cover the basic law, national security law, and Chinese history. In 2023, Beijing passed the Patriotic Education Bill, which lays down guiding principles to boost patriotism across the country. Hong Kong National Security Police also slapped bounties for the first time on 13 Hong Kong activists who are in self-imposed exile. They fled the city after the protests and are mostly in US, UK or Australia. In 2024, Hong Kong authorities accelerated the legislative process to pass Article 23, the city's own national security law.
有89人出席，有89位贊成，全票通過。我宣布議案獲得通過。The legislating of Article 23 is not merely a Hong Kong law. It's not an ordinary legislation. It concerns the national security and the well-being of both Hong Kong and our motherland. And without national security, the development, prosperity and stability of the country and Hong Kong would be short of solid foundation.
It covers the offences of treason, insurrection, espionage, sabotaging national security, theft of state secrets, and external interference. Maximum penalties for some of them include life imprisonment. It's meant to complement the Beijing-imposed national security law, which only covers 4 offences. Hong Kong authorities later secured a court order to ban a protest song from internet platforms. The song was mistakenly played in place of the Chinese national anthem during international sporting events. Deborah Wong, CNA, Hong Kong.